So let me tell you a story. It all starts here. I took a poll on this channel. It was a rather simple poll all about this Epstein, President Trump, DOJ release. 768 people voted in one question. Do you believe Trump administration is being honest on the Epstein case? 91% voted no. But why? Because they more than likely, like me, felt my intelligence was insulted. There's a way you could have presented this, and unfortunately the facts are really inconvenient. As a matter of fact, the primary camera in this entire argument wasn't even operable. This is the camera that was recording, and they presented this through this common area down here that nobody went through to where Epstein had walked down these stairs and came up to an area that you can't see on camera. No, not this door, and not this door. It's somewhere way back here. As a matter of fact, it's called the L level. Now, the DOJ could have chosen to not insult your intelligence, gone through the level of detail I'm about to go through. And yes, I'm talking quicker. Somebody came up to me last night. We were at a restaurant and says, on camera you talk slightly different, because I talk really fast in real life, because I get really excited about these topics and I get really worked up when people insult my intelligence. So today I'm going to go full speed, my normal speed. I want to see in the comments if you like it or not. So hold on, strap in. Because if you think you were upset before, when I'm done with this, you're going to be irate. Okay, before I roll into the story, do you know the alleged last message that Epstein left? His message to me hours before this happened. And it was just in response to me asking how he was. And he said, still hanging around. Cryptic to say the least. But no, we're going to stay not on these cryptic messages, not on hearsay, not on rumor, on facts. The facts that the DOJ decided you weren't intelligent enough to handle. But not here. That's not how I operate. So we have this L tier. The L tier, which is shown there by the red arrow. That is where Jeffrey Epstein was housed. How do we know that? Because there's a report that tells you so. And when we take that report, Jeffrey Epstein was housed in the M tier until after he was attacked in prison. He was then later moved to the L tier. That is not something you can see on the camera presented to you. Watch all the footage you want. It really makes no difference. But Kash Patel, Dan Bongino came out and said, we reviewed the footage. It is conclusive that nobody entered Epstein's cell. Okay, if they did or they didn't, in this case, and what I'm talking about is incircumstantial. The fact that you should have simply said the camera we needed to view it was not recording would have been a bit more factual, and people wouldn't be questioning the administration so much right now. But I digress for a moment, because this is Epstein's cell, and this is the L tier. This existed off camera. Now, if this isn't boring you, and you want to see more, I want you to stay right here. And I don't want to stop. I'm telling you, full speed today. So do me a favor very quickly. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Help me share the video. Love it. Love your comments. Again, I want to hear about the style I'm presenting in today, if you like it or if you don't. All of you who've joined as members, thank you so much. It keeps the lights and cameras on. And then I'm privileged at times to come across certain people who believe in what I'm doing here. One of those folks is Chapter. It's actually a new sponsor I brought on because I don't only like to provide you the news, I like to provide you help. And Chapter is the help. They are licensed Medicare professionals. My audience has already saved thousands with one simple free phone call. 805-619-5011. 805-619-5011. Medicare's a mess. We've seen it in all the news reports. Bureaucracy, red tape. Some people have great plans. Some people may not be sure if they do or not, and that's what Chapter's there to help you with, to determine, to go through all the options available to you in your area and simply tell you if you got the right one or not. And by making this simple free phone call, again, 805-619-5011, the average person who calls Chapter saves $1,100 a year. What do you have to lose? In a system that continually takes from you, it's time to take something back, and I need you to call Chapter right now. Now let's get back to this broadcast. Okay, so let's go full screen. I'm going to talk quick. We're going to go full screen here. There's the L tier. There's Epstein's cell. Great. What else do you got, Justice? Well, remember, the camera was showing you this common area. The camera was located here and viewing down into this area, but it never could really catch where Epstein was housed, which was the L tier. Just want to make this clear to you. It wasn't even at the same level of the common area, because if you go further, you'll notice the L tier is an elevated tier. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, don't worry, I'm going to read the report. This one has been out for a long time, but a lot of reporters don't like to read information, June 2023, because within this report, you'll suddenly get a real clear picture of what happened. July 24, 2019, at approximately 8:45 a.m., Epstein's removed from suicide watch but remains under psychological observation, and now they start moving him around. And he ends up in the L tier. How do we know that? BOP witness told the OIG that on the same date, Epstein and inmate 3 were moved to cell number Z06220 in the L tier, which we later confirm is the same cell he was found dead. But this is the footage they provided you. Again, not this. No cell here, no cell here, and definitely no cell in the common area. It's somewhere way up here. Not at the wall, through the wall, way behind where no one could see it. That's so. But let's continue. How do we know it's a cell? Because they gave us all the evidence already. Both photographs have been modified for security reason. There is his cell, and in this diagram, they tell you it's the L tier. Well, that's not what I saw. They didn't tell me that in the announcement. No, they didn't. They chose to insult everyone's intelligence. You want to go further? The photograph shown here of cell 220 with Epstein right there. That's the way you should have presented it, but they chose not to. No, we have pictures of inside his cell, always documenting the same area, the same L tier, photo after photo, and you see the common area down below, and they had to walk upstairs into Epstein's cell door. There's no camera available. But why? How come the officer station, they couldn't see anything? Did they do their rounds? No, they absolutely didn't. They admit they didn't do it. Epstein's allowed to make an unmonitored telephone call on August 9th, just before his death. Weird, huh? How did that happen? Were the rounds done? Were they conducted every 30 minutes? No, they weren't, according to this OIG report. MCC, New York security camera video recording shows Noel and Thomas walking around towards the L tier. Noel and Thomas told the OIG at the time they were entering the L tier in which Epstein was housed. This is the time where they found him, because they were going to deliver breakfast. They start knocking at his door, no response. Come to the door, they scream. And all of this is happening, once again, you guessed it, in the L tier, not in the camera that they showed you. But why don't they simply state that? No, all they want you to know is that down here, nobody walked by. And make the logical assumption then that everything's okay. No big deal. But let's roll forward. The lieutenant told the OIG that he was the operating lieutenant who relieved the morning watch operation lieutenant at approximately 5:30. He heard a call from a medical emergency. Epstein hung himself. Once inside, the lieutenant observed that Thomas was performing CPR. The other lieutenant, freaking out a little bit. The electronic technician said that when they were delivering food to the inmates, he heard the inmate saying, "You killed him. You weren't making rounds. You killed him." Quote, unquote. Was this evidence presented to you? No, of course it wasn't. Of course it wasn't. Inmate 6 said that they were never doing their rounds. Inmate 6 reports that nobody went into the cell. Multiple inmates report that. Again, I'm not here to declare if this was foul play or not. I'm simply here to show you why our intelligence was insulted and why so many people are upset, because all this intelligence was out there. There was 11 cameras located in and around the special housing unit, including one at the end of the L tier, which would have shown any movement in or out of the inmate cells. Now, the folks allegedly at the watch desk that night could see it. but unfortunately, it wasn't recording. It was broken. Therefore, if DVR2 crashed, no video from DVR2 assigned cameras could be retrieved from the existing DVR1 or the footage that you were shown. According to forensic analysis conducted by the FBI after Epstein's death, disk failures occurred in MCC's New York's DVR2 system on July 29th of 2019. July 29th, the system fails, and everything occurs at the beginning of August, but I guess there's no such thing as coincidence, right? The electronic technician told the OIG that before Epstein's death, no one was specifically tasked with ensuring that video camera was ever to work or was being recorded. But again, the DOJ didn't choose to tell us that. It's okay to admit there was errors. It's okay to say that nobody appears to have known what was going on. It's okay to say the data was lost. At least then, even though we'll still have questions in our mind, you wouldn't have insulted our intelligence because a lot of people don't even know this level of detail was out there. As noted above, the camera at the end of L tier was providing a live video feed, however, was not being recorded. There's the cameras. Let's go full screen so you can zoom in here. And you'll note quickly that the camera we needed to see, Epstein cell right here, which is the L tier camera, well, that wasn't being recorded. And another one facing the common area, well, that wasn't being recorded. Nor the one that was facing towards Epstein's cell, well, that one wasn't being recorded either. And the one that was facing directly down the corridor into Epstein's cell, well, that wasn't recording either. Actually, the only one that was recording was the one that the FBI has said has provided conclusive evidence that no foul play was happening. Oh, just add insult to injury. All the lower tier cameras, this one, and that, and here, guess what? Those weren't being recorded either. But you know, we're all just dummies around here. We can't handle the truth. No, the only camera was working is the one that showed you the video footage. The one that's located right in the red circle. I hope this starts to make more sense to you. The one that showed this, which clearly also illustrates, based on its camera angle, could never have shown you anything that occurred here. But we have conclusive evidence. We have conclusive evidence, even though, you know, you really can't see what happened here, and you really couldn't see what happened here, and you really couldn't see what happened here. But we have conclusive evidence. You see, this is why I felt my intelligence was assaulted. We can see a fraction of the stairway leading to the L tier, a fraction. But this is conclusive. Case closed. Now you see why so many people are having trouble with this story? Because the non-recording camera, the one that could have told you, and the other 7 cameras that could have given you a lot more intelligence, well, all those were broken. Oopsie. All provided in this report. And remember this?
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
There it is. Kash Patel told you. I like Kash Patel. I like Dan Bongino. I like President Trump. What I don't like is anyone in any case or instance who insults my intelligence or my audience's intelligence. So the DOJ could have simply came out and said, it appears to us that any evidence in the Epstein case was destroyed before we can get to it. We tried desperately to review the footage of the prison system, but unfortunately, due to either extreme mismanagement or foul play, the cameras were not operational. Every camera we needed to actually see Epstein's cell. However, reasonably, we can determine, based on the testimony of other prisoners, that it appears that no one did enter his cell. Now, then, the American people could have decided for themselves to believe it or not, but the administration would not have the amount of egg on its face it does now, all resulting in a poll, 798 people, and 91% of you do not believe they're telling us the truth. Maybe the answer is they just think we're too stupid to present us the real facts. For whatever reason, just give me the truth. I can handle it, and my audience can handle it, and so I provided it to you. There's what actually went down. And why they ain't telling us? Man, that's going to be the biggest question of all. I hope you like it. I'm just starting today, by the way, because now I'm going to kick forward, because we got a bone to pick with Gavin Newsom. And actually, Jasmine Crockett, too. You remember those little wildfires that happened, right? You remember all the permits that really are still not in place yet. I think we're only up to 100. Well, now Gavin Newsom's made an announcement of what he's going to start building. Man, it appears another conspiracy is coming true. And that's the story I'm going to continue over at Restricted Republic. Would love you to join me over there, because this is the version of me you get at Restricted Republic. A little quicker, a little faster, a little bit more, well, unbridled. I hope you liked it. I want to see it in the comments. And also, I want to see you subscribe. I love you. Till next time, Godspeed and God bless you this night. Signing out.